Hi Joe, thanks very much for chatting to us today.
Hi, Penny.
So I understand at the minute you've actually got coronavirus. How are you feeling?
I'm positive for coronavirus. I'm feeling fine. Just very mild cold symptoms, nothing else.
And do you mind me asking whether or not you've actually had your vaccinations and your booster? And if you did, why did you?
Right. I've had both my primary vaccines plus my booster at the end of last year. My main reason for having them is I'm a nurse. I have children and I also have elderly parents. So part of having the booster was obviously to protect myself, but also to protect the people that I love and the people that I care for as part of my job.
So, as a nurse, I'm sure you've seen a lot of the impact yourself on the NHS and perhaps from colleagues working in the hospitals. And we've heard lots of rumours about the vaccines, and I hoped we could dispel a couple today. The first one is does the vaccine stop you getting coronavirus?
Well, the short answer to that is no. What it does, like any other vaccine, is minimise the symptoms. So what we don't want to see is people developing very severe symptoms that end up being hospitalised. So, and certainly in my experience, I've had both my vaccines and my booster. My symptoms are actually very mild. Under normal circumstances, you would carry on working. Obviously, I'm in isolation, and all the literature suggests that having the third booster dose actually gives you 85% protection. So the idea of this vaccine program is to minimise the risk for hospitalisation and development of severe symptoms.
So why then do we need two doses or three if you're clinically extremely vulnerable and a booster on top of that?
Okay, so it's best described, and people will be familiar with this, is such as the flu vaccine. So everybody is very used to having the flu vaccine year on year. That allows us to titrate the vaccine to whatever prevalence of the flu that is circulating at that point. That's no different from coronavirus. It's a virus, it changes, it mutates, and like every other vaccine, what you will have heard is the term waning. So your immunity will reduce over a period of time. So it's really important that we get our initial course, but then we keep that those vaccine levels topped up that will then support your immune system going forward.
Okay, so another myth we've heard is that some of the variants of coronavirus, like Omicron, are quite mild. So people are actually choosing not to have the vaccine and actually play the chances with coping with the symptoms if they catch it. And others have actually said that the booster doesn't give you any more protection. How true is this, Joe?
Um, Certainly from my perspective, I'm extremely pleased that I've had all three of my vaccines. I do believe that that's helped my symptoms be extremely mild. I work in the NHS. I've seen firsthand those people who are very, very sick as a direct result that have even that have chose not to have the vaccine, or those that have only had one or two of those vaccines. It's really, really important that actually we all play our part and that we all get vaccinated and have our booster when we're eligible to do so. I have a 22-year-old daughter that also lives with me. She's also positive. Unfortunately, she's had all three of her vaccines, and again, actually hasn't developed any symptoms at all. So she's not symptomatic, and picked this up through lateral flow testing. And I'm really, really pleased, first and foremost, as a parent, that she's had those vaccines, and it's definitely played a part in minimising the symptoms that she would have had she not have had the booster.
So, what would you say to anybody that has maybe putting off their booster or perhaps hasn't even come forward for their first or even second dose? Why is it important they come forward for those now?
it's even more important. So it's recognising that anybody can have the vaccine at any point as long as you're 12 years and above. And it's really important that all the general public play their part and they step on that journey, whether it's the first vaccine, the second vaccine, or to get their booster. We want to make sure that all of us have the same opportunities to minimise the symptoms from Omicron. And that we all collectively work together. This is about each one of us playing our part in protecting those most vulnerable in our communities. We all have elderly family, elderly relatives, vulnerable children, and this is our way of protecting them. Please don't leave it to chance. I can only speak from my experience as a mother and working within the NHS that I truly believe actually having the vaccines made a significant difference to me and my family.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.